So, in just 5 years from now, your phone will be completely transformed. Elon Musk says our phones will evolve into edge nodes for AI inference. Basic devices with a screen, an audio interface, no apps, no OS. Everything just runs seamlessly by AI that will anticipate what we want and give it to us when we want it. It's a pretty radical glimpse of the future, irrespective of whether you're an Apple or an Android phone user. I have Brian Wong back with me today. Brian is an expert deep tech analyst, investor. He's a futurist thought leader, and he runs the prominent science blog, nextbigfuture.com. Welcome, Brian. Good to have you back and to pick up our thread of discussion on the X phone, the Elon AI device nowadays.
Right.
Really exciting times.
Yes, it's a lot of things happening. It's the pace is picking up. RoboTaxi, space, is AI. It's all happening. Very exciting.
And of course, this is the all-important week with the shareholder meeting, the vote, and all of that. I think the vote's
Mhm.
pretty much done for. That's my sense, and that Elon seems a lot more comfortable. He's more chilled. He's talking about science fiction in the next few quarters. It's like
Yeah,
so much of
yeah.
it
He
right now.
removed the vote Tesla link
Yes, he
from his
did. He
profile.
did.
So that pretty much,
Yeah,
and then he does these 6 hours of interviews with All In and with Joe Rogan. So it's
and
kind of
Joe Rogan.
like he feels good that it's all done.
It's
Yeah,
good to see him in this place. It's so good to see him
yeah,
in this place. And of course, he's completely focused on the future and building it.
right.
All right. So let's start off by listening to this soundbite of Elon's from the Joe Rogan podcast. And then we'll kind of pause and we'll break it down as we go. All right.
Sure.
People keeps talking.
Oh
People
man,
is that
I have a
nonsense
lot on my
still?
plate, man.
I
It's
know,
like,
but it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up where I know I've asked you a couple times. I'm like, this is bullshit, right? But like,
I'm not
there's
working on one.
You're not working on it.
I'm not
Nothing.
working on a phone.
Okay. Have you ever considered it? Has it ever popped into your head? Because you might be the only person that could
Yeah.
get people off of the Apple platform.
So very quickly here, we've discussed an X phone in the past, you and I, on Over the
Yeah.
Horizon. You've written about it on your blog, nextbigfuture.com. And so the question, I think we've kind of got it wrong because we've been focusing on a traditional phone with all the apps in.
Yeah.
And wrong because here comes Elon, and he's going to blow our mind because he's completely reinventing the phone or reimagining the device. And very importantly, I think a lot of people, this discussion has been on for a while. Will he build it? Will he not build it? Joe Rogan asks him, have you thought about it? And in typical Elon style, he pauses, he thinks about it. And then even as Joe continues his next question about if anybody can do it, it's him. He says yes. And to me, that was really interesting.
So one would be that if he's not building what he describes, and this is so revolutionary, then what is the revolutionary thing he is building that will be around communication?
Exactly.
So, because I think that he is thinking about stuff, and this is what he's willing to throw out to people. I think here's a tidbit and some other stuff, but he's clearly working on communications. He has Starlink, all the communications,
Yeah.
and he's working on AI. So having that, if he has a way to revolutionize how we interact with that key part of our personal communications, then he must be wanting to incorporate that into XAI and then have SpaceX deliver it. So if not what he's describing here, part of concepts around how he's going to reshape communications with AI.
Absolutely. Reshaping communications with AI. I think that's absolutely, you've chosen the right words. Let's kind of go back and listen to what they're talking about, because this is pretty mind-blowing.
Mhm.
Well, I can tell you where I think things are going to go, which is that we're not going to have a phone, or in the traditional sense, what we call a phone will really be an edge node for AI inference, for AI video inference, with some radios to obviously connect to. But essentially, you'll have AI on the server side communicating to an AI on your device, formerly known as a phone, and generating real-time video of anything that you could possibly want. And I think that there won't be operating systems, there won't be apps in the future. There won't be operating systems or apps. It'll just be you've got a device that is there for the screen and audio and for and to put as much AI on the device as possible, so as to minimize the amount of bandwidth that's needed between your edge node device, formerly known as a phone, and the servers.
All right. So there is so much to unpack here in that one response. But I want to begin with what an edge node device is. So it's important. So we've seen edge computing and AI computing in the past, right? Palantir has been doing that with its satellites up. It essentially brings the workload of computing to where you want it in the most efficient manner.
Right.
So one of the things with satellites is they capture so much of information, and the time taken to transmit that to a base station, the time taken to then kind of go through all of that and compute it and analyze it and get a sense of it. If you can do that right on the satellite itself, edge computing in space, that completely changes the picture. And this is application of that type of technology on the edge
Right.
on your device, right?
Right. Going back to the world of PCs and computers and internet over the past few decades, there's been you had the mainframe computers and you had dumb terminals, right? And then go forward, you had servers, but you have PCs. So you compute on both ends. So either all you compute on one side and nothing on the other, and then compute in the center, but a fair bit of compute on the edge, more and more compute. And the more compute you have on the lower end, then the less you have to transmit back and forth. So this has been, people have taken different levels of architecting these things over the decades. And in the IT world, they call it thin client, thick client. Thin client means on your end, you have very little compute. Thick client means you have more compute. So Elon talking about edge nodes is whatever the device is, I'm putting more compute on that end, right? That's the edge compute where it's devices, it's whatever. So he's putting more compute on that end. And then the inference on both ends. So he's saying I'm doing inference on the AI side, central side, and then AI on the other side, is that I'm going to think about things, I'm going to do compute, and then get the result, and then only transmit the results back and forth, which puts less load on the communications side of things, right? So by architecting it that way, less communication in between. This, downloading a full video with gigabytes, high resolution, I can say, I will send you information about what's in the scene, and then if you can compute fast enough, you can recreate the scene, right, on your end, on your edge node, right?
Yeah.
So when he says he's not working on a phone or something for this, he's clearly working on all the pieces of it. He's working on the AI on the center side. He's working on the AI on the other side. He has means of doing it via X and XAI, where he's going to be doing it, and he's making the chips AI5 this 2026, and then he says followed quickly by AI6 and AI7.
6 and 7, yeah.
So those will be devices for the chips for the edge nodes, however it's architected. So
because those devices will communicate in an exponentially better manner with the Starlink system than any phone can or hope to in the next 2 years.
Right. And then it's not just Elon talking about this. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, has talked about all of the software, enterprise software, all the business logic going into AI.
Yeah.
So you're taking the smart intelligence out of regular software, and thus software changes, operating systems and software change, where it was enabling all the intelligence into porting most of the information and the knowledge and the work into the AIs.
Yeah. So no OS, no operating system, no apps. Instead, you have just one AI, which is Grok, that does it all.
Right. Yeah. Well, two flavors of it, which could be the same one. One
Right.
on the central side AI, and then node side AIs.
Yeah, the server side and the node side.
Right.
Yeah.
So like a spider
So
web, something like that. Yeah. Go ahead.
exactly. So this is fascinating, and I find this fascinating because how there's this perpetual divide in the world between Apple and Android. And you've got all these battles that we've discussed here in the past about, you know, XAI not getting its due in the App Store and all of that, and then you've got Apple that tries and restricts you to its own ecosystem. Google, of course, the Android is a lot more open source. Is essentially what really enabled people around the world to innovate, right, and bring in and build apps of their own, and that fuels so much of innovation and creativity. So what happens to these OS wars, to these App Store wars, when you don't have an OS, when you don't have apps? Are we going to
Goes to
see
what
Grok
you know.
versus
Yeah, that's right. So basically, it becomes what in the Silicon Valley where I am, people discuss as replatforming, where
right?
when you change architecture completely from mainframes to mini computers to PCs to smartphones, you're moving to a new platform, a new way to deliver it.
Yeah.
And so if there's no app store, then you're competing where, and it's all AIs, then the AIs are competing for what was Apple's app store
Yeah.
or for the Google Play. Those things are gone because I don't need them anymore. I'm going to the new platform, which is AI to AI. So
Yeah.
then Gemini, OpenAI, XAI, and Anthropic are competing then to get when we move over to the new way, AI, all AI, then app way, right? They can try and move it, shift over and add AI to it, right? But the controls around apps and things change. They're just like shrink wrap software.
Yeah.
Things that move from shrink wrap software to where I would buy a book of software pages, and then that goes into streaming or goes into internet software as a service type delivery, right? So that is how we've done the replatforming. So no more apps means it's all AI, new competition as we deliver the new way of doing things to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and we've discussed this in the past because he has all the pieces of the puzzle of the ecosystem that he's creating, right? He's got Starlink, he's got Grok, XAI, and then if the vote goes through, then you've got Grok in Tesla, in the cars, in the robots, you've got RoboTaxi, and then you've got this re-platform device, this new
Right.
device, and payments, of course, through X and videos and all of that. So it's just it seems to me like this is an AI ecosystem on steroids that Apple or Android could never build, and that because he's got all these pieces together, he's got such a head start on everybody else. Because from the Starlink satellite system to AI on the Starlink. You've got energy, you've got X, you've got XAI, you've got RoboTaxi, Optimus, Tesla, everything. How do you compete with an AI ecosystem like that?
Well, one is I would say that everyone, major investor, major CEO in the Valley or in tech, knows that we're replatforming. Like I said, um, the CEO of Microsoft was saying, "Hey, we're moving all the logic from." He said that's like 6 months ago or more,
Yeah,
saying they're moving all the logic from the enterprise software into the AI, right? And then if you listen to All In Podcast or BG2, um, you know, all those guys are saying replatforming, right? That we're going to AI, and that's the battle that we're having. So I would say all the tech leaders know that's what we're going for, right? And the reason that Elon can say it is that he knows his main competitors know it. The fact
yeah,
that
yeah,
us, some Joe Rogan listeners, millions of Joe Rogan listeners now know here's the game.
yeah,
It's like the Zuckerberg, all those other guys, they know this is the game, and this is
yeah.
why they're putting $300 billion, $400 billion per year
Right.
more money into it, because I have to do this game.
Yeah,
And then things like the YouTube architecture of, people are generating the videos, and then we're streaming it across. That architecture could change, where if I can generate, if I get to the point where I got a world sim type thing that can generate stuff on my own machine, because I got a petaflop compute, and I can just generate on the fly. I can just give you the prompts in detail to say, generate the movie this way, right? And then I generate on this side, so then I don't have to communicate all the gigabytes, right? So that means everything about YouTube, everything about how we serve a video, Netflix, and everything that changes, and then that changes how we build the apps, or things that will replace the apps. How we do that will change based on this thing. So, and then delivering exactly what we want is the point. If how we're doing that now with with recommendation things, with matching of content. So if you go back to some kind of first principles of like, what do I want? Don't think of it in terms of, I want a movie, I want this, I want that. I want some kind of visual and audio information that answers some kind of question around learning or cooking or something like that, so that can be rethought. So it is
so then
profound.
What happens to people like you and me, and of course other creators? Do we become avatars of ourselves that the AI then interacts with, and then feeds that information or that perspective or that opinion to a user on demand?
Well, for thought leadership, for curation, is you're giving the information at a higher level. So it's, I'm still giving the choice. I'm still I'm saying, try these dishes, look at this article, or look at this information. Telling people where to look, because you have so much information. It's like in Indiana Jones, you have the Ark of the Covenant in the box, in the warehouse full of 1 million boxes. Now I have even in this infinite warehouse of stuff, and it's still like, well, what's important? Where do I look? By having guides to say, here's where you do that. The AI can guide you, but the human with the AI may be able to guide you better, right? And you still may trust someone. So the relationship of the people, of like, people still trusting me or trusting you, or to that kind of stuff, is, we need to help each other and deliver that versus creating the actual experience in detail, right? And so it just changes the level, but it's still the relationship and how you can add value to someone else.
It's, to be honest, it's so difficult to wrap your head around the potential, because it is such a radical shift. It's such a complete reinvention, a complete reorientation of the consumer ecosystem online, that is going to be so radical. And all of this in the next 5 to 6 years.
Right. Yes.
This is crazy.
Right. So, so until it happens, it's difficult to anticipate. But, looking
do you think this is Elon time again, and we have to take it with a pinch of salt? Or because, as you said, everybody's moving towards this ultimate destination that it's perhaps will be 5 to 6 years?
It's it will greatly depend upon how good the AIs get. Like, you'll see it, month to month. Like at the end of this year, do we get Grok 5? How much better is it? We get Grok 6 next year. We get Gemini 3. We get GPT 6. So it's going to be, we'll be experiencing month by month as these things are happening. So then we can see, well, what is that improvement rate? Are we on some kind of exponential, right? So you look at linear improvement, or you're looking at things that are disappointing for 6 months and suddenly we pass through. So when you get surprises on the upside, you have to be knowing, here's how things are shifting. But we have to be aware of how these massive changes are impacting things. website traffic could go down because everyone's getting the answer from AI. And the fact that future articles and information are getting AI refers to next big future said this. I get nothing of that.
Yeah.
Right. So
And what happens to YouTube?
so
What
it's
happens to creators on X?
right. Yeah, they'll refer to YouTube and for other things. So you have to have something that's a citable. So if these changes are big and it's going to change
Yeah.
jobs and how
Because
we do things.
All right, let's continue with the soundbite and listen to what he has to say.
So if there's no apps, what will people use? Like, will X still exist? Will they be email platforms, or will you get everything through AI?
You'll get everything through AI.
Everything through AI. What will be the benefit of that, as opposed to having individual apps?
Whatever you can think of, or really whatever the AI can anticipate you might want, it'll show you. That's my prediction for where things end up.
What kind of?
So that he says whatever the AI can anticipate, which tells me that it's going to be an extremely personalized experience. The AI
Right.
is going to be so intuitive that it'll almost be second nature.
Right. So I think you'll have personal AIs because you have to have one that you trust.
Right.
It's one that's local.
Right.
So that goes to the edge thing. So it means we'll have the central large AIs, which are kind of like the XAI, the Grok 10 or Grok 20, and then you have your own personal localized version of it that's running on your own devices.
Yeah.
And that will be very powerful. Like Andre Karpathy talked about that we have too much memorization in the current models with 1 trillion parameters. He was saying that maybe only need 1 billion parameters for it because we can get down to the core of it. And then I don't have to memorize everything. I can look up what I need to look up. So the 1 billion parameters local model will be very powerful. It will be the core of what these larger models might be doing, and the size of these models could change as we up level. But the so we'll each have trusted AIs, possibly multiple AIs, but at least one that is like in Iron Man, Jarvis. I have my own Jarvis. I'm talking to it, and then I'm interacting with other AIs, other places. But the reason I have the one AI, not because it's the smartest or the best, it's the one I trust. Right. So that kind of it's your Jiminy Cricket there, giving you the information, telling you what you need to know, and you're able to converse with like now we may have trusted human advisors and companions, but then we could still have other trusted human companions. Again, the relationship of people can still matter, but they will also be working with their own trusted AI, right?
Yeah.
So that relationship and owning that trust is a thing. And then the question is like, when do you shift? You'd have to be a stark difference of like, okay, now I'm going to get rid of this to go to this upgraded version. You have to be able to do some deep analysis of it to know that that's worthy of the trust, right? So it's not just the intelligence; it's do I trust it?
Yeah. And another layer on top of that is Neuralink, and I think Elon just recently, was it yesterday or today? He made put out a post on X saying Nolan, one of the first recipients of the Neuralink, is probably soon going to get a second or an upgrade. So we're going to see these devices evolve very rapidly, right? Whether it's blindsight or all of them, you have essentially a large part of our brain being able to be mapped by the Neuralink device. And when I'm kind of thinking about a future where maybe in 7 to 8 years, maybe in the next 10 years, you'll be able to have a Neuralink device that taps right into your brain with this re-platformed new device for consumption. And then how does that kind of change things? Because that's at the speed of thought, literally.
Right. So it goes to how does the cyborgification of society where you have humanity, and then you have the computers, and they're communicating to them, and then that component was growing. Days of mainframes operating our banking and other systems
Yeah.
to PCs and stuff like that. So the hardware computer component is growing, and then the interaction speed is increasing, and then the personalization. Okay, I have my own personal computer. Now I have my own personal smartphone. Now I have my own personal whatever. And so the closeness of us to those devices and the speed of communication has been increasing, and we have it personal, and we have it always on our person, always in our hand.
Yeah.
In Neuralink, it's directly to our brain, right?
Yeah.
So, and then what are the benefits and value to that? How much going from 100 bits per minute, or 100 to a million bits to a billion bits, getting that communication
That
speed up,
throughput rate. Yeah.
the throughput rate up in order to do that.
Yeah.
So the growing, and then still goes to trust and value being delivered
Yeah.
for these changes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm making
Trust
this
is so
change.
vital in such a situation, in such a scenario.
Right.
I
And
mean,
then again,
because
how we
the
interact
amount
with
of power and access that these AI models will have, it's just so difficult to comprehend
Yeah.
how extensive
Yeah.
their reach will be within all aspects of your life, within your
Right.
mind, really.
Yeah. And Fei Li, who works at Stanford and has a world world simulation or something like that, a world builders company, which is invested by Eric Schmidt. She discussed that these changes will be so large that we need to still have people in the center, because we're creating this thing.
Yeah.
We need to have these technologies service us in the best
We
way
need to be
possible.
speciesists, and it's good that Elon is a
Right.
speciesist.
That's right. And we need
It's a pretty scary,
I need to work together on that. So
yeah.
it's having the human relationships is the key thing. Like the fact that so many people disconnect from other humans that are doing it through devices, locked into smartphones, that they need. However we do this, we need to make it so you get the value, but then you can interact with people, and then having that part of society and humanity work, that we can't break that by doing something.
It'll be pretty bizarre if you just upload yourself to in a Ready Player One kind of situation, and you're there in the simulation all the time, and you're wasting away in real life.
Right.
Well, these are risks that we'll have to. I mean, as a society, we've gone through the social media phase, and now we're seeing governments increasingly, at least for kids in school and high school, governments around the world are bringing in new regulations to prevent access to kids who are vulnerable to dangerous social media sites. So, I don't know. We'll have to think of something like that in the future.
That's right.
AI.
Yeah. So how we do this, how we interact with it, is a choice we have to make, and we have to make the right choices about how to do this, and have the benefits of humans as core, as us as individuals, as a group, and the people we care about. We need to strengthen those relationships.
All right, let's continue with the soundbite.
What kind of time frame are we talking about here?
I don't know. It's probably 5 or 6 years, something like that.
So 5 or 6 years, apps are like Blockbuster Video.
Pretty much.
And everything's run through AI.
Yeah, and there'll be like most of what people consume in 5 or 6 years, maybe sooner than that, will be just AI generated content. So music, videos, there's already there's people have made AI videos using Grok Imagine, and with using other apps as well, that are several minutes long, or like 10, 15 minutes, and it's pretty coherent.
Yeah,
it looks good.
No, it looks amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the days of AI slop are numbered, because whether it is Sora or Nana Banana or Grok, we're seeing increasingly realistic video output, and it's on social media, on YouTube or Instagram or other places, it's becoming increasingly difficult to differentiate between what's AI generated and what's real.
Right. But it's for what Elon was talking about, there doesn't have to be realistic looking. It can be, animated cartoon, so long as it's engaging. It's a question of,
Right, right.
am I entertained? Am I engaged? Am I enlightened? What am I seeking from it? And can it deliver? So, the ones that can succeed with that are the ones that will be picked, and the ones that get developed. So whether it's Sora or Vio or whatever, X Imagine, that's the competition, is to deliver the value, deliver the quality that people want.
Yeah,
Right, but definitely it's also why it doesn't matter as much about the device itself. If he owns, he's competing on the AI part, that's clearly where the bulk of the value is, right? So the fact that it's coming through a particular device, like Google, is the value. Whether it's coming through your smartphone or whether your PC, is less value. That part is valuable, but the focus is on where the value generation is on the AI part of it.
yeah,
And then there's also owning the data, owning the right data, helping to generate it. So then that part, so compute, AI, data, and then delivering the value of the content that
yeah.
is
And of
produced.
course, all of that served up to you by your personal assistant. And it's
Right.
interesting the way these avatars on Grok are evolving. I wonder if you'll be able to kind of design your own kind of assistant avatar, like a Jeeves or Jarvis, and you'll be able to design it as you want and personalize it as you go
I think
along.
definitely will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy future. It's amazing. You've also written about it on your blog. Let me just quickly pull it up. This is nextbigfuture.com,
Yeah.
and you've written about it. Elon Musk described as an AI device to replace phones in 5 years. Do check it out. I'm going to leave a link below the video so you can go and read it out there. But yeah, it's really fascinating. It's a bit scary to be honest, because I mean we're just beginning to come to terms with the full impact of social media on a generational on successive generations, because we're seeing the shift from, let's say, our generation to that of our kids, and the changes that it's bringing in their lives. And it's going to be very difficult to comprehend the sort of changes that we're going to see with this AI future. And if it's within the next 5 to 6 years,
Yeah.
I'm
I'd
pretty scared
also,
about it, to be
I,
honest. Yeah.
right. I also like to point out that written a book along with Randy Kirk and a few other people. So
Oh yes,
that's AI
absolutely.
Rising. Yeah. So
Yeah,
how to thrive in the age of abundance. So people should take a look at that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was able to anticipate in that with a chapter on AI data centers on Mars.
yep,
That's taking off with the orbital AI data centers,
yep,
which Elon has said he can make 100
yeah,
gigawatts of that by around 2030 as well.
yeah.
So the
100
the
gigawatts a
ta-
year.
100 gigawatts a year. That's right. So the level of and pace of AI is just getting faster and faster,
Yeah,
and the having it merged together with space and Mars and everything, and orbit and moon is
yeah,
we're going to get space because we want so much AI data center, that we're going
yeah,
to build so much energy and so much other stuff.
yeah.
So it's um, a lot of changes in 5 years. It's going to keep
It's a
going and going.
lot to wrap your head around. Yes, and of course, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to a follow up discussion with you on that chapter in your book,
Yeah.
and also about the AI data centers in space. You've mentioned on the podcast on Over the Horizon about your ideas about AI data centers on Mars.
Right.
And so we're now entering the quantum computing world era, so to speak. And then Elon has also talked about quantum computing in craters
Moon.
on the dark side of the moon. So
Right.
it's going to be fascinating, this future within reach within the next 5 to 7 years. And
Right.
I hope we can get together soon to talk about that as well. I'll leave a link to your book and where people can buy it.
Yeah.
of Amazon and on Kindle, wherever they prefer. So, any closing thoughts, Brian, before we wrap up?
Yeah, so it's something where the changes around how we absorb the content is going to happen so fast, and so we just have to quickly realize what's happening and adapt as quickly as possible to it. Try and anticipate where possible. So so many things are happening that you have to update constantly on this. So if people have questions about that, put them in the comments. We'll try to get to those and answer.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and it seems like the developments, day by day, hour by hour, just it's crazy fast how things are
It's
moving.
just as we discussed. We said it would be. You did say it, and I think we're on the cusp of a radical change in the rate of cadence of these developments, and it's going to be pretty crazy. So you buckle up,
Yep.
folks. All right, let me
Yeah.
just pull up your book on the screen. So this is the book.
Yep.
Brian is a co-authored. There's a chapter that he's authored
Many chapters.
in this book. Many chapters, yes.
I wrote about a third of the book. Yeah.
All right, good. Along with Randy and a few others, I believe.
Cern Basher, Phil Beisel,
Cern Basher,
Ferguson.
Phil Beisel,
Yeah.
So this is going to be a great book to read. So please do go out and check it out. And any questions, as Brian said, put it in the comments. We'll be happy to take the discussion forward there. But we'll have to leave it there for the moment. Thank you so much, Brian. I know you're a really busy man. You wear so many hats, and I appreciate you taking out the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.